If you turn the arrow.
The air is on, but it's probably set at 74.
This room just always gets hot.
Yeah.
We
could
can
always
knock
keep
it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Here
Okay,
we are.
are we ready?
Okay.
We got everybody?
Yeah.
All right. So let's call the meeting to order at 5:32. And let's go through roll call.
Mike Baker.
Here.
Janice Baker.
Here.
Doug Mindenhoff
Here.
and Michaela Hammerson.
All right, Mike, do you want to lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So item number 4 is the consent agenda. Everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes.
Yes.
Any corrections? No. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Hearing none opposed, motion passes. All right. And then, do we have a separate motion for the maintenance report?
No,
Oh, it's included, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hmm.
Okay. All right, item number 5, financial report by Sherry.
Your financial report's gonna look a little different this month. I took RLS's information from their report and tried to kind of tailor it a little bit more and do like a like overview of what's in the packet. So, the balance sheet is for May and, then there's a couple of different P and L reports. There's a current quarter, which is April and May. And then there's a current fiscal year, July through May, and then there is, let me go down this now.
The medical ones, are those just for this month? So for the month of April and May?
I'm sorry,
The medical funds of 103,000, is that just for April and May, or is that,
which one are you looking at?
sorry, I was looking at the P and L quarterly report.
That would be for the quarter. So if it's for the quarter, that would be for April and May.
That's for the quarter so far.
So far for this quarter, the quarter that we're in.
I just had one question on the bank balance. It says 698,811.04, but the statement says 209,432. Did we have additional deposits?
Yes, so one of the things that they had asked to do is for on the cover sheet to put the bank balance as of the date that the packet went out. And then the bank statement is through the end of the month.
The end of last month.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay,
So yes, we did have some money that rolled in early June.
perfect.
We had-
Significant money.
Yes, yes, it was the COVID money that we had been waiting on.
Perfect, okay.
Does anybody have any questions or have any comments or suggestions on the layout?
I like the summary.
Okay,
I like it a lot. That's
Okay.
really nice.
Yeah, definitely makes it more understandable.
Mhm.
okay.
Do we feel that the changes that we've made and routes and timing and people and all that kind of stuff, that's leading us in a positive direction?
I think that it is leading us in a positive direction. May, we didn't do the layoffs until the last, I
Mhm.
mean, the last paycheck of May still included some of those folks. So June's gonna give us a really good idea of those cuts and everything that, how much of the savings it's really,
Yeah.
ended up being, but I do think that, overall, May over April, we had a $50,000 savings about. So I think from May to June, we'll see additional savings.
And is that gonna be going into reserve, or are we still looking at operations?
At this point, what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to take 5% of all of our large deposits, not like all of our fare box and all of that, but all of our reimbursements and put it in as a reserve.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's my goal, unless we absolutely need it, but I'm hoping we will not. I'm hoping that we'll be
Yes.
able to start. I think with the wheelchair portion going away on the NEMT, we'll have a bigger savings on the program as a whole with the volunteers, with
Mhm.
just the volunteers. So we should be okay.
Okay. Any other questions on the financial report?
Any news on just kind of the review of the past expenses to figure out how we got here? Anything new on that?
Yeah, there's some information that's coming up. I think is it 9.1?
Yeah.
The STIF project updates. And
Oh,
I
okay.
can go through that, and that's
Okay,
gonna
let's wait
give
for that.
a much clearer picture of how we got where we are.
Okay, great, thank you.
Perfect. All right, is there a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
That's a race. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
it's not easy to hit that button and move.
I know, right? It is a race. All right, okay, so we're moving on to number 6, which is public comments. Do we have any public comments? Anything online? These are on agenda items only. All right, looks like we're gonna move on. Okay, so we are on to agenda item 7. We're just marching right along. This is great. Old business, we're going to look at 7.1 updated board bylaws.
So in the last meeting, there was the request to remove the phrase, the chair shall appoint the executive assistant to the general manager as the recording secretary of the board, and replace it with the general manager or designee shall serve as the recording secretary of the board. So the change, I made the change, struck out the words that were removing and highlighted the ones that I've inserted. And the revised copy is attached.
That way, whenever we get back to hiring an executive assistant, we can just delegate those
Just
duties and,
Exactly.
yeah,
And we don't have to change it again.
exactly.
The only thing that I would say on this particular thing is back in April, we did pass a interim policy regarding management conduct that said that if we make any changes to the bylaws, that interim policy will expire. And I just want to make sure that we're clarifying that that is not expiring with the adoption of this. Is that the way that the board understands it? I don't think our intent was to change that policy with this bylaws change is my point.
Yeah, I would agree. That wasn't the intent. I do think we need to go back in and readdress that, but yeah.
Okay, so do we, is this something that we can do on not on agenda later? Would that be appropriate
Do,
to readopt this interim policy
well,
or?
I don't think we. I see, it. No, definitely just-
I think the wording on it probably should have been different, like. I don't know, we could have probably worded it better.
Well, I think we could, I don't know that we need a decision on it. I think we can just say, I mean, that certainly wasn't the intent. The intent was to put something in the bylaws,
Right.
in the future,
All right,
not just any little thing, we changed the date.
that, I think the point was that we didn't wanna have to revisit this constantly,
Right.
and then we sort of wrote it
Right.
this way,
Right.
so.
But I do think we need to go back in and do it more permanent, readdress it and stuff.
Right,
In the future, yeah.
right, I agree. Okay, so, any other discussion on that, Janice or Doug?
No,
Any thoughts?
I'll move to approve the bylaws as presented.
Do I have a second?
second,
You approved them.
Oh, we do
Oh,
already
this
know.
changed?
We already,
Yeah.
Okay, you're just sharing them back with us.
she's just sharing it back.
So that you have the corrected copy.
Okay,
Okay.
so remove our motion. Okay.
Perfect. That makes it easy. All right. Hold on, where are we? So we have,
Internal controls.
we're gonna go through our job descriptions. So was Becky presenting that?
Becky can't present them because you were provided the job descriptions that I did not create. I did bring copies of the job descriptions that I submitted to Cheryl to provide to you guys. I've done extensive research with HR Answers and an attorney regarding our job descriptions and was prepared to provide the feedback. And I took probably like 95% of Mike's feedback
Mhm.
and made those changes and made that into consideration. But I'm really discouraged at the fact that I was tasked by RLS and ODOT to do these job descriptions. And the job descriptions that I provided after the feedback were not presented to the board to be reviewed so that I could discuss them. I did make copies for the board. However, I didn't realize not everybody was gonna be present today, so there's no way to get the two board members the job descriptions virtually.
So we had a PDF, I thought, sent out on all the job descriptions.
I only sent that to the executive committee.
So why was that gone to the executive committee and not to the whole board?
Because of the structure and the back and forth of the email, it was only appropriate for the executive committee. And I keep getting informed by Cheryl that I'm not to reach out to the board, even though I have an attorney saying otherwise. Because you are public officials, and that it is absolutely not inappropriate for anybody to reach out to a public official.
Well, it is probably not that appropriate for staff to do that. It seems like you would go through the general manager to do that.
And I submitted them to the general manager to provide to the board.
So I do think that, we had a delegated task for these job descriptions. I would be interested in having the board review maybe both copies and we probably are not gonna be able to make a decision on this today. My understanding is that this was due. When was it due? Within
So they
90
wanted
days of
June
last,
1st.
They wanted to have it done so that the separation of duties was effective June 1st,
okay,
because it's desperately needed.
okay. So we can do a special meeting perhaps?
And I did list all of the changes that were made to the job descriptions. None of the changes were highlighted. So what I did is I went through and I did a comparison between what was provided and what was presented last time. And I highlighted all of the changes. And then I spoke with Sherry regarding her job description because there was a place where it said that I was responsible to administer, I believe it was. And it was actually, I have the oversight, she administered, so we collectively, and after reviewing the fiscal policy, decided to make that change, and that is a strikeout. The old words are still in there.
And
And
that is in your general manager.
it's in the fiscal and the general manager, yeah.
There is some conflict with that, because she changed the wording in hers to say that she oversees the applications of the grants, when she should be the one administering the applications of the grants, not overseeing them. It is the general manager's responsibility to apply for grants. Those were not discussed with me. Those are some of the legal issues that I have issues with. My other issue is, no disrespect, Mike, one person does not make up the whole board. And these suggestions came from one board member. And like I said, I did take 95% of them into account because it was good feedback. But I do have documentation of Cheryl stating that the board cannot make changes to job descriptions. So we're in this really conflicted situation. I'm more than happy to share what I found from HR Answers because I submitted my job description to them. I did not want to add the under the supervision of. That is something that belongs in a job like recruiting announcement along with equal opportunity employer. We are not a financial contractor. That does not have to be in our job descriptions. That belongs on a recruiting announcement and our application. When you start adding summaries, you're getting away from the actual intent of this, and it is the job description and the job duties. It's very clear at the top of the pages who you're under the supervision of. And you guys are probably not aware of who HR Answers is.
Special districts.
Yes, they are special districts and they consult with our special districts attorney, which all of the terminations go through special districts attorney. If he's unavailable, then it goes through HR Answers. Just like if I come up with any policy, it goes through HR Answers before I even present it to the board. That's what I did with the layoff and recall policy.
Have these been presented to HR?
No, because they're
Answers.
job descriptions, they don't have to. I did email them mine to give them example of what my job descriptions look like after I made the changes. And they said that it looks great, that they agreed there was no reason to add the under the supervision because it takes away from the actual job description, which is the intent. We would add that if we were going to submit it for like a recruiting announcement.
Yeah, this is where I think this is, so one of the suggestions, it was exactly toward that, was that's why you attach an org chart to those.
So
So we don't need to we don't need to do that as part of this job description, but if you're handing it out or doing a review of somebody, you would attach an organization chart to that to shows all that stuff and how it's all set up.
And I did ask them about that and they said that's pretty uncommon practice that the org chart typically is in the handbook. So I'm more than happy to add that to the handbook because that was not in the handbook provided to me for special districts for me to review all of our policies and procedures. But that was the major point of contention, was adding that summary with under the supervision of, and that was what I discovered when speaking with HR Answers.
Okay, so the job descriptions all indicate the job title department reports to.
So that's Cheryl's copy. I did not put departments on mine.
Okay.
Because we really only have two departments, operations and admin. And like, for example, if you look at Randy's, she put him as operations. He's the operations manager, so he's technically admin. He's not just operations.
Admin.
As we grow and we have more departments, I feel then it would be appropriate to put departments. If that's something the board wants, then I am very happy to change that.
Do we have a structure that actually has administration and operations? Like, is that somewhere in our policies, in our handbook?
I have not seen a org chart since RLS was here.
Okay, so this wouldn't be consistent with what we have in our policy right now. Okay, so
Why would it not be consistent with what we have in our policy?
well, if we don't have an
Where is
actual
it in our
org chart,
policy, I guess is my question.
do we have those two departments? Do those exist?
We have admin operations, operations admin, and call center and demand response, which falls under operations.
Call center is under
Call
operations.
center is under operations.
And do we have anything in writing that says that, or is that part of what we're trying to build out right now?
That's in our job codes. It's in the org chart. It's how we built the company.
Budget, yeah.
It is, yeah, it's laid out in the budget by department. That's why
So are we? I guess as a board, we have to decide, are we comfortable with the way that these job descriptions are written right now? Do we want to send them through HR answers?
I actually thought they looked good, and they looked consistent, that was the main thing. That was what caught my attention the first time we were going through, had no intention of taking notes and doing that, but all of a sudden it was like, well, hey, that says this, and there's this whole section missing, and it says this on that one, and I was kept having to flip back, and so finally I just made notes.
So my question would be, what change does this summary have on the overall job description? Having this in here, what does that in function change?
So it is reiterating something that's already at the top. It makes it. It's just not an appropriate place for it. It takes away from the whole point of the job description, which is to outline the essential duties and functions of the job.
As
It's turning it into a job announcement, which is what I started with.
as an HR assistant at one point, that was part of my duty, was to write the summary for every job description. Not for the advertisement, for the job description. The summary calls your attention to the overarching duties of the position, which are then lined out in the rest of the job description.
Which if you look, it's in the core job functions.
Right, you have to search for it.
Is it changing the actual duties of any of these positions? In any of these cases, does it change the position?
No.
Or require?
There's also a second issue after consulting with an attorney. That the reporting structure, because of that interim policy, that technically upper management should report to the board of directors and not the general manager.
That's not what the interim policy says.
So. Based on the interim policy, I don't know if that's something you guys want to look into or not, but that was when I spoke to an attorney, that is what was stated. That there's major issues with our structure.
We have one employee, we have the general manager, and all employees, outside of that, report to the general manager through various, supervisory setups, so, yeah, that is not what it says.
Did you give me that policy back? I gotta read it again. I may have already put it away, but. I did already put it away. Let's take a look at that. Okay, it says. Okay, does everybody want to hear this? Just for the, yeah, it is, okay. Interim policy regarding management conduct, senior management, which includes the general manager, operations manager, HR manager, and finance manager, will take complaints directly to the Umpqua Public Transportation District Executive Committee for investigation. The executive committee will bring recommendations to the Umpqua Public Transportation District Board of Directors. Senior management will not take disciplinary action upon other senior management without prior board of directors approval. And this interim policy will expire upon board of directors adopting updated bylaws.
There are executive committee bylaws, and that's probably what it should have said.
Well, I think what this is saying, this is specifically speaking to when senior management has a complaint, it should be provided to the executive committee, and that senior management, which includes all 4 of those job titles, will not take disciplinary action on each other without board approval. I don't know if that needs to be put into the job descriptions permanently, or if that is something that needs to go through executive committee first to make recommendations to the board. But I do think that the only concern I see is under the general direction, or where is it? Under the direction of the UPTD general manager, do we need to specifically say anything about disciplinary action, or does this policy cover it? And are we going to need to update the job descriptions in the future?
Well, in my opinion, it's an untenable, way to manage an organization, that policy. definitely create some problems. So I do think we need to have more discussion with that in the executive committee and come back and bring that back for discussion, but I don't think it needs to be in the job descriptions.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it could be something that goes into the bylaws. Well, I mean, that's clearly the intent is to put in the bylaws later on, whatever we do.
Mhm.
I just don't think it functions well, and it's clearly complaint driven. It's clearly about complaints.
Mhm.
Has nothing to do with the management structure or the management. You know, I mean, I hear the tone and the angst over there, but Cheryl is the general manager. She manages. She's the manager over everyone.
Mhm.
But there are other interim managers, that
Yeah.
have their own crew supervised, so that's what we want them to do.
Does anybody online, well, not everyone online. Janice and Doug, do you have any questions about these job descriptions, any comments?
No,
Was that a no? Oh, I thought that was a well.
I should say too. I think the-
No.
Doug, do you have anything?
no, I do agree with Mike that it's an untenable long-term situation.
Absolutely. Are we comfortable with the way that the job descriptions are written? Or is there another path you guys want to take?
I'm comfortable. I thought they were, well, a lot better organized. Like, I like to, that was. Well, we talked about a lot of stuff about the, for example, the minimum qualifications, so.
And
Um,
HR answers did tell me that I probably went too far with the 10 years on all the
Yeah,
managers.
yeah,
Mhm.
I wasn't gonna say.
I'm just trying to be consistent.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I have. RLS has already determined that we're all qualified for our positions, so I wasn't too concerned, we
Yeah.
all have that level of experience. So, I mean, if that is the only thing that, if you guys wanted to change, but I was just trying to keep it consistent for all management level.
yeah, I think it's good.
All right,
Do we need to approve those?
a motion is required if you guys want to move forward.
So I'll move to approve the job descriptions as presented.
Is there a second?
Second,
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
All right.
aye,
I'm
Aye.
glad that we have job descriptions. Good ones.
And we can revisit them if we need to. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me get back to my list. All right, the fun stuff. We're moving on to new business, so 8.1 is officer appointment, election of a board chair. Let me get my document. Oh, it's only a one pager.
Yes.
All right, so we did have a resignation from our prior chair, Sarah Thompson, effective June 5th, which opens up the chair position. So I will go ahead and open up nominations for the board chair.
I nominate Michaela. I nominate Mike Baker.
Did you all speak at the same time?
Mike and Michaela.
Is that-
I nominate Mike Baker.
Janice nominated Mike and Doug nominated Michaela.
All right, so Mike, do you accept that nomination?
Yeah.
All right, I will accept the nomination as well. So I was looking at this with, our bylaws actually don't say how we, are to do this vote, so I was thinking the easiest way to do it is just by, roll call vote. Since we have two nominees, is everyone comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you wanna call roll call and just,
Okay, Janice,
Mike,
Yeah, suggest maybe we do something different, but anyway, yeah. We'll say Mike, you say Michaela, Doug say Michaela. And we're.
And we end up with a tie.
and
We
we're
end up at the
so-
ties.
Pretty much where we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do we continue or?
Yeah, you have to,
Okay.
you have to record it.
I'll go ahead and nominate Michaela. for chair.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Okay, so you're voting for Michaela. Doug, and you,
Michaela.
and Michaela,
I will vote for myself.
I thought you were gonna say that.
All right, so
And Janice.
I still want Mike because I feel like
Oh,
he
she
has
voted.
she voted first, yeah.
Okay,
a lot of experience, so anyway.
Okay, so then that opens up.
Now
vice
we
chair.
have a vice chair position that we need to fill. And last time we just filled it right away without notice, so I think we're okay to do that,
Yeah.
correct? Okay,
yeah, because it's officer.
okay, perfect. So I will open up the nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Mike.
Are
Okay.
there any other nominations? All right, so we'll close the nomination. All those
You're
in
it, Mike.
I think we can just straight vote this one. All those in favor of Mike as vice chair, say aye.
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 All right, hearing
All
none
right.
opposed, Mike is the vice chair.
We'll also have a need for a,
Yes,
person on the executive committee,
that
but I would
was
just,
on here.
okay, I was just gonna suggest we wait until we, have other, board members appointed to the board. Before we do that one.
We do have it on the agenda, but it's not yet. It's in just a second. So we'll get to that.
Okay, well, I would, anyway, I would just.
8.4.
Yeah, yeah, okay, when we get to it, I'm gonna suggest that we just keep going. Having board members on board.
So we're done with that one. 8.2 is, bank signatories. So we need to sign those right now.
We need to adopt resolution 24/7, which designates well, now Michaela Hammerson as chair and Mike Baker as vice chair.
I'm not following.
All right.
Just half of them is that down.
Move to approve,
know.
resolution 24/7.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those.
I was thinking they were, rethinking their.
Okay, all those in favor, of adopting. This resolution, 24/7, say aye.
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 All those opposed? It passes.
Hey, there's something in the chat, if you guys want to look at that.
Oh, hopefully it wasn't for public comment, because we missed it.
Oh, it says that public was not invited. Actually, the public was invited. Oh. Sorry, David.
Sorry, David.
That is entirely possible that I did not get the documents posted to the website. I updated the website for other items and I did not post our agenda.
Okay, so, what do our bylaws say about that, and what is our legal requirement?
Well, it was posted as a public notice in News Review.
Okay, we covered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there let's see. I think there's a way to just send an agenda or hop an agenda, share an attachment. What are we in Teams?
For everyone that is on this page.
They would
except-
see it.
Except for one, I actually sent the entire board packet.
Okay,
Oh, except I probably did not send it to David, I sent it to Jennifer.
so you wanna pop up we could pop up the agenda, just share screen.
Let's see. Um.
Like, man, I have to reverse the meeting.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe there I could get to it.
it's doing better in here.
Yeah, the air's on, I can
I
feel it
know.
over here. It gets warm quick.
Oh, there we go. Something. Revised. And,
So are we confident that we have provided proper notice?
yes,
The legal notice is the gold standard, so, yeah.
Okay. Just wanna make
Um,
sure.
all right, so share screen. And. I don't see the document I just opened. Okay, oh. Maybe it's here? No. Okay, one moment. Relatively certain I opened it.
Yeah, you should be able to just, once you open it, then you go into share screen, and then you pick that application. And then that screen.
There it is. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Should have all that.
All right,
We are on.
Are we ready?
8.3, I think.
Okay.
yes.
So 8.3 is our board position number 3, applications and discussion. So this is something I had discussed with Cheryl, I believe, last Friday. My concern is that this may be out of order, being on our agenda today, because we may not have fulfilled our requirement and our bylaws for proper notice. So I will read from our bylaws. Under vacancies, it says, in the event of a vacancy on the board, the vacancy shall be published as soon as possible for the term of 2 weeks in a newspaper of general circulation in Douglas County, Oregon, and on UPTD's website. So that there's an and there. So a 2-week requirement was needed. And from what I understood, we had published it for 1 day on the news review. Although you can continue to search for that, it was not published in the newspaper for more than 1 day.
Correct, it was posted as a legal notice one time on, I believe it was May 24th.
So my concern is that we haven't fulfilled our obligation of notice to the public, which would be to publish for 2 weeks in a newspaper of general circulation, which actually includes the newspaper, not just the news review website. So in my opinion, that this agenda item would be out of order today.
Perhaps. Yeah, I don't think that was the intent. Usually people don't, usually they have it open, it's open for 2 weeks. It's advertised, but not necessarily advertised for 2 full weeks.
Yeah. My recommendation was, since we had 2 more vacancies, at the same time, that there is a cost associated with this, advertisement that needs to go into the paper for 2 weeks. And if they were all consolidated together, the 3 positions, that we would at least save the cost of not having to do an advertisement for each individual one.
Do we want to interpret the bylaws to say that it needs to be in there for 2 weeks straight? Or is it that it needs to be in there and it's open for showing that it's open for 2 weeks?
My understanding. of
I think
how
that
this
was the
is
intent
written-
when it was originally put together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, it says the vacancy shall be published for a term of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it has not met the requirement of
Yeah.
publication. And we certainly can change our bylaws in the future, but the way that they're written, I don't think that we've met that.
Yeah.
Any thoughts online? Janice, Doug?
No,
Yeah, I guess I would agree. It's not, doesn't mean it. I would just flag that as something to consider, to think about.
Especially now that
And-
we know that there's a cost associated with it, which I don't think the
It's a-
board was under the assumption that this was an advertisement and not a legal notice when that was put into the bylaw. So that's certainly something we can consider in the future, but I would tend to want to rule that this is out of order today. Any challenges to that?
Was it on the website for 2 weeks?
Yes.
But it says and,
Published and,
it says newspaper and.
And it was on Nextdoor and it was on Facebook.
It was all over the place, but it wasn't in the newspaper.
Have to be in the newspaper.
What was that?
Why does it have to be in the newspaper? Like on
Because-
print?
It says it in our bylaws.
Where?
Under 3B vacancies,
Okay, it's not in front of me, so I don't know.
yeah.
What is it?
It
What
says it
is the
shall
word?
be published for 2 weeks in
Published.
in a
Yeah, usually
newspaper.
it's a newspaper.
Oh, it
agenda.
said-
Yeah, usually
It
it's a-
specifically says newspaper, okay.
Specifically
Yeah.
says newspaper.
Because that's where we used to have to advertise legally until.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
lost-
think
and-
newspapers are a dead thing, so we
Website.
probably need to like trash that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely, why don't we consider that on our agenda build for
Yeah.
next meeting? But I would think that it would be a good idea for us to get all 3 positions put in the paper together and save that cost on that for the next 2 weeks so that we can be prepared to do these interviews and choose our missing truth.
So you think we'd have a special meeting in a couple weeks?
I
to
think
do
we
the interviews
should.
And all of that, because we do need to fill.
I think we need to.
ASAP.
Yeah, and I think that will give us time to do proper interviews as well, if we have a meeting just dedicated to filling those positions. Do I need to call that now, or can we do that when we're doing agenda build?
We could do it during agenda build.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Just, we have a bunch of people that applied that are
I
in here.
know, I'm sorry.
Are you guys okay with, waiting a couple weeks to do that? Does that work?
Do I get input on the date picked? Because I can't, I'm just being honest,
Yeah.
like I can't guarantee I'll be in town if you randomly choose a day.
Yes,
Yes.
that's kind of where I am
Yeah,
too.
I think if you're here, have input, or you're
Okay.
online, have input, yeah. Yeah, we want something that works for everybody.
We're all nice. All right, okay, so we'll call that meeting at the end. Okay, moving on to executive committee member appointment. Where is the sheet on that?
Yeah, most Doug or Janice want to be on it. I would just say it might be better just to add, since we're 3 members down, to add the 3 members and then just select it from the full board.
Janice and Doug, do either of you have interest in being on the executive committee?
I do.
Okay,
Not at this moment.
okay, can he nominate himself? Can I nominate? I don't know.
I
don't
don't
think I
know
can
why you
nominate.
couldn't, I think you could nominate.
Okay,
It's not a motion, so.
that's true. Okay, well, I'll nominate you, Doug.
Doug, are you available during weekdays?
Yes,
in the
I am
day?
now. I didn't used to be.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, okay. That's fine then.
Why am I missing this? Oh, it's right here. It's just out of order. Okay. All right, so we just have one nominee. Doug.
Move to appoint Doug.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
You can you second?
Yes,
that?
you can second.
All right, all those in favor of Doug being on the executive committee, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Have your opposed. What?
It's force of habit. Okay, so we are 8.5. We are moving 8.5 to executive session at the end of the meeting, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll just put that one over there. 8.6, recommendation for dial-a-ride reduced fare.
That is Randy.
Randy, you are up.
All right, everybody get a chance to review the staff report.
Yes.
So basically, I outlined the fiscal impacts if we were to reduce the program costs for, rural dial-a-ride riders, seeking life-saving dialysis. There's also what that would look like for free fare, reduced fare, and or for just a reduced fare for the rural to match the paratransit costs. And then also some alternatives to just reduce all rural dial-a-ride trips to $3 a trip. And another one is federal requirements require a Medicare provision for reduced fare for fixed route. And that could be an alternative to also for dial-a-ride clients. Might be messy and hard to manage. But I wanted to outline and this is what we would have in fare loss. So this is what we would not be collecting in fares if we were to look at one of these considerations.
Okay. So, have we done any, have we looked into the Medicare billing? I know we had brought that up maybe one or two meetings ago, about looking into whether or not there was an avenue to make any money out of that.
It's not an avenue that we can take.
Mhm.
It's an avenue that some of the people that are on Social Security could take.
We can't bill Medicare.
I don't think we have that option now.
No, not for public transit trips.
Okay,
That would be for them to qualify for the Medicare services and be able to get the trips to that brokerage.
okay. All right, so we don't think that that's gonna impact us.
The fiscal impacts, if we were to look at a reducing fare for rural dial-a-ride trips would be $15,600 annually.
Mhm.
And for free fare for all dialysis trips.
Mhm.
4,368 annual at current service levels for reducing the dial-a-ride trips for the rural recipients. And then the third one was also the cost prohibitive for people trying to get to the senior meal program. I don't know what those fiscal impacts would be because we're just in the discussion phase right now with senior services regarding those trips. And because $10 round trip for somebody to get a meal would be cost prohibitive. There may be money within the county senior services programs to help subsidize those trips, but we don't know what that is, what that looks like.
Is $6 work for them or? Around here?
It would help. It would help for the dialysis clients, and. I mean, I don't have a recommendation either way, just because of, our current budget, but, maybe something that you want to consider.
So how do you validate the dialysis trips?
How do you validate them?
Yeah, is it just because they called in and they're
Yeah,
going to a
and the
specific
location.
address or location?
Yeah, we only have one dialysis center here in town, and that's DaVita.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So potentially we could do free. If we did free fare for all dialysis, that's 15,600. And then would you do like a reduced fare or would you keep it at $5 for everybody else, or would you reduce it to $3 for everybody else?
So the first bullet that'd be free for all people using paratransit or dial-a-ride. That'd be all clients within Roseburg or within the county trying to get to dialysis. The second bullet is just if we reduce the fare to match current paratransit fare, which is $3. So it would reduce somebody going to dialysis from $5 to $3. That would be the fiscal impact is approximately $4,368 per year.
And what is the qualification for the rural dial-a-ride trips? So that doesn't have anything to do with dialysis, that's just everyone else that qualifies.
Yeah, they
Okay.
qualify for the services and then the services are provided.
And who makes the determination about who's qualified for dial-a-ride?
That would be Cindy, the office manager.
Okay,
The downtown office.
They're like a 30-page application or whatever it is now. It's like a book.
I think it's longer than the citizens application. for the
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah.
we want to ask about that.
And we ask you the same question over and over and over and over and over.
3 parts. Yeah.
All right, any other questions on this proposal?
So, do you have a recommendation?
I don't, because I haven't talked to anybody about the budgetary impacts yet. I just got the numbers together. I don't have some recommendation at this time, but did want to, open up for discussion and if you, want to provide direction.
What does this do to our balanced budget?
Well, I think our balanced budget had like 48,000 in,
Assuming nothing is wrong, yeah.
so if you
And if
take
we don't put
15,000,
anything in
if you
reserve-
take 15,000 away from that, or 4,300 away from that, so. So you'd have maybe 33,000 or, 44.
Mhm.
But
Everything is
I-
estimates at the, I mean, it's all projections, and we could do better than what we're projecting, and
I guess I do have a consideration. If I were to look at any of these to just slow walk into this and would, that'd be bullet point 2. But I did want to show what it was like if we were to, just provide those services, free of charge, or if we were to match the rural dial-a-ride trips with paratransit. Or, hold off and, make sure this is something that would be sustainable.
So you're saying because, with number 2, they are rural, so it's going to be almost impossible otherwise for them to make it into town for these trips,
It
right?
would be $10 per day and they're going 3 times per week.
Okay,
So
and we're looking at $4,300 for our rural.
that would be to reduce the trips to match the fare for, paratransit.
Mhm.
The trips are, they're typically 3 times longer and 3 times more mileage
Mhm.
as opposed to paratransit, but, that's, the challenges of living out in the rural environment.
That's true.
And if we opted to do the $3 fare for Medicare recipients, all they'd have to do is show their Medicare card and they'd qualify for that. And that would cover the low income as well as the dialysis patients. So kind of a 2-for-1 there.
Do the dialysis patients have, access to other services?
Some may,
Mhm.
depends,
We just don't know.
yeah.
What have we seen in, so we started that in May,
June.
June 1st? Have we seen a decrease in ridership on dial-a-ride?
Not really, because I think people are still using we're allowing them to
Oh,
use their
good
tickets,
people,
so
okay.
they're still having,
Too
many
soon.
people still have their tickets, and I did, saw that we were
Yeah, that makes sense.
still doing those trips, and then also clients that are out in the, rural area are, if they have a paratransit ticket, because that used to be paratransit service areas, they're still able to use that until they run out, so we'll probably see more better data regarding that, July when, people are going to be buying the new fare immediate.
Do we have any idea of how many of those are outstanding?
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
We don't have like a tracking system or anything.
There's control numbers on there, but how that's controlled or tracked on the back end, it's not, yeah, it's sold and then they have a, stored value on the ticket and they
Mhm.
give the ticket to the driver and take the trip, so.
Well, I guess I'd be in favor of just reducing it to $3 for everyone.
Anybody have an opinion online? Any comments?
You won't find some other kind of medical issue or some other,
Well,
it seems fair
Yeah,
to
yeah.
everybody,
It is, it's tough because, I mean, there's other life-saving,
right?
but it was
Yeah.
addressed specifically regarding, some of the concerns came across were from the dialysis clients, so that's what I addressed in that
Yeah.
staff report.
Thank you very much for all this information. It is very helpful. Okay, well,
So I'll make a motion to change the dial ride fares to $3. Effective immediately, I guess, or is there a date, you want an effective date?
So all Ballarat
All
trips,
dial ride, $3.
all road Ballarat trips to Mirror
Paratransit.
Paratransit.
Yeah.
So that, we're looking at the fiscal impact of $11,110 annually approximately,
Right.
depending on ridership.
oh, you're down on this one,
Yeah, that'd
alternatives.
be all.
Were you doing second bullet or
First bullet.
fifth bullet, or
First bullet under.
first alternative bullet? Okay. Is there a second?
Did you want an effective date?
Sure.
What works? I mean, we're June, middle of June, do we want to say July 1st, do we want to say July 1st, is the beginning of a month?
Yeah, that would give dispatch enough time to,
Okay.
vet out the current.
So $3 effective July 1st.
You guys need to repeat the motion, or do you understand it? Doug, Janice,
Could you repeat the motion?
It's to reduce all fares, all dial ride fares to Mirror Paratransit at $3 a ride.
to begin July first.
Yeah.
It's an impact of $11,110 annually. Do I hear a second?
Second,
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, none opposed. It passes. All right, project updates, number 9, Cheryl, it's all you.
Actually, I'm gonna pass the first one to Sherry. She is the one that has done an incredible amount of groundwork on this.
Okay.
Do they have a copy of the? Is it in-
Yes, they have that all in their packets. Okay, there we go.
The SIP plan, project updates. So if you take a look at the spreadsheet, so I was able to go through and audit, all the SIP plans back to 2019. In reviewing that, the original, SIP plan that was from 2019 to 2021, that's grant 33868. The original grant amount was it was planned at $4,136,601.
Mhm.
We ended up getting only $3,557,568.
It was at how much? 4,300,000?
4,136.
130.
So that was what the plan was built for, but what we actually got was 3,557,000. So the shortfall was 579,000 on that plan alone. So which means that, we have to go through and we have to reduce the plan by that much to kind of figure out where we really are.
But we
So-
didn't do that.
It was not done.
So we need to go back through a process to re-prioritize those projects based on the funding that we did get
Right, so Sherry and I went through and we did that.
in the future. Yeah.
But what the other piece to this is that those $579,000
Mhm.
that we did not receive were rolled forward into the next plan.
Yeah.
When we didn't have.
So we
get them taken.
exacerbated the.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
So, and in the process of auditing, all the STIP plans, all of the SPR reports,
Uh-huh.
with Jennifer Boardman sent me, her tracking sheet and then I compared it with my tracking sheet. So I found that there were some expenses that didn't get reported, and then there were some rollover expenses that were supposed to roll over, but Cheryl reported them as expenditures, so it drew it down when it shouldn't have. So there was a lot of changes that had to be made. So in going into the next STIF plan, so at the end of 2021, we had a rollover, an actual rollover of 2,190,000. And the projected amount for that plan was 2,729,000. So there was another shortfall of 538,000. And then it was projected to have rollover from that plan into the plan that we're currently in. So.
That's over
That's our million.
Exactly.
$1 million.
So the plan that we're currently in, the actual rollover amount, so at the end of June of 2021, we had 1.4 million, okay, left of STIF money. So that should have been our rollover. What was projected was 2,549,000.
Oh,
So the shortfall was 1,093,050. So that's, I think, where the disconnect has been with how much do we have in the bank? How did we get here? So it's been
Projection versus actual.
projection versus actuals. Yes.
Can't say I haven't seen that before.
Yes. So, at the end of June of that was June of 2023, we had 1.4 million. So what I'm projecting at this point, after our quarter three, reimbursements from our actual, what we actually have received and what we actually have rolled over is 1.2 million. Which we've had, our expenses have been about 1 million to 1.1 million every quarter.
Mhm.
So it's probably pretty accurate at this point.
So we need some new processes too, so as we develop
We
the
need
next
some- yes.
STIF plan and stiff list of projects or whatever happens there.
Yes.
Right,
We need to make sure that there's another process, once we get all that done, when we get the actual funds or we see the actual revenue, then we need to sit back and sit down and reprioritize again to bring us back within the new constraint.
part of the process that they encourage you to plus up by 20%. So that in the event, yeah. in
And because
the
I
event-
get additional funds, we can actually spend it, otherwise we can't spend
Yes,
it.
so that plus up needs to be removed
Mhm.
and if we get it, we get it, and if we don't, then we're not projecting that into our budget. And that was my fatal mistake, that's the fatal error, is I projected
guys-
the plus up into the budget.
you have a new system as well? Oh,
Oh, Jennifer. I'm glad other people are, okay, how do I, there we go, Jennifer.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Cheryl, you're spot on about the 20%. So you want to make sure that you have enough projected in your STIF plan in the event that there are more revenues that come in. Otherwise, they end up being stuck in the pot and not being able to be used until you can modify your STIF plan, which is the new rule that's going into place. So yes, you want to make sure you have that in there, but yes, you do want to make sure that you have a tracking mechanism, which I think Sherry's new system of keeping track of how many projects and where the projects are going is going to help. So you'll have a better idea come January, when you have to turn in your new STIF plan for the next biennium, what you really need to have in there. But definitely always have that extra. And, one of the things that you can do is have that contingency project, have that plus 20% as a contingency project. And then okay, this is where that is. And if you need to move it into another project and you have additional money later, you can do that. But it's kind of easier to track if you do it that way. And these are the things that we're learning, as we go along. This is a new program. And so we've had people, you guys are not alone with not having the tracking the way that you needed it. It's a new program. It's only been going for 3 cycles. So, it's a hard it's a hard funding cycle too, so.
Can we have a, Jennifer, can we have a contingency part of our STIF plan? So we put the 20%, or we put other projects in there that if we get additional funding, that we can then allocate and activate those contingencies? So it's just
Yes.
not part of the normal.
Yeah, a contingency project, if you do it in such a way that you are able to put in there, this contingency project can be utilized for match for buses. This can be used for match for the facility. It can be used for additional operations funds that were unprojected. So as long as you put that within that project description of what those contingency funds can be used for, then yes, it can be. And we have been trending not getting additional funding just because there was an increase to the administration costs for this. And then, we didn't end up with as much funding as we had hoped. We are going to be getting new projections, I heard the other day, around August. So we will have a better idea of what you all will have for the next biennium in August. But yes, you can definitely.
Are we able to have a project in there to build reserves?
Yes, you
Yeah.
can. Mhm.
Just because we came over with basically nothing. So
Right.
that's part of the problem, I think, that's created this issue too, is that we get nothing from Douglas County.
Yeah.
Effectively, so.
Well, and we actually, in the first plan, we did build contingency projects into it.
Mhm.
But then we rolled that money forward for
Yeah.
those.
So I think if we had a section in our STIF plan that clearly said, this is here's our project, but then this is the contingency section.
Yeah.
So we're not even gonna look at those unless actual revenue comes in there,
Yeah,
which I wouldn't think it will. Somewhere we gotta enter a recession, right? And it's an employment tax unless they increase the transit tax, the employment tax.
And Jennifer, you said that we can add contingency in there for operations as well?
Yeah, you can have a contingency project and it can go to anything as long as the project is defined above. So like if you had a operations project, an admin project, a capital project, those contingencies can be moved within the STIF plan to a project that you have already designated. So that's what you do. It can't just be, here's the contingency and we are going to use it for a holiday trip to Florida or something like that. It has to be designated to a project up above.
I say we go to Hawaii.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I think Cheryl and I will be working hand in hand in the next STIP plan. I haven't
In
been
Hawaii.
involved in building the STIP plans previously, so, but I think at this point
Yeah.
we will be working hand in hand.
The good thing is that we have staff on board with ODOT that is actually assigned to these programs now. And they are poring over the rules and looking at some of the things that we have in place. And in addition, we have that ability mid-biennium to make a modification if for whatever reason and larger numbers come in than what you have in your STIF plan. We have it within our ability, if OTC passes the temporary rule to permanent, which I hope they will, then, in mid-cycle, you could make modifications to add additional funds to a project. Can't create a new project, but you can add additional funds if they come in.
So ODOT was nice enough to work with me and open up all of the SBR, a lot of the SBR reports all the way back to 2019 to make all the corrections. Yeah. And so all the corrections have been made. Cheryl and I have some time set aside on Wednesday because they have to be closed in chronological order. So all of the numbers change properly.
Yeah.
So we will sit and do that on Wednesday, but all the work has been done and,
I think that.
I'm
that's
hoping
first.
this-
I know that was a lot of work for you guys.
Well, I can breathe easier because knowing we can fix it.
Yeah,
And the not knowing was killing us.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it just was difficult with trying to go back and audit audit a time period when I wasn't here.
Yeah.
So trying to go through and find all the attachments and figure out. Figure
The
it all
only
out.
thing I can say is that when you guys actually have your compliance review, more than likely you will get a finding for spending outside of the compliant spending plan because you had certain projects listed and you spent money outside of what those projects were. So they probably will, you possibly could get a finding. I mean, that is a possibility. But all you have to do is the next time spend within the substantially compliant means. And you guys have a plan in place to do that, so.
Right, and when we get to that point, we'll have the documentation
Mhm.
to show all of that up. Yeah.
We had a couple of organizations that did that we managed and took us probably 2 years to go back to 10 years of stuff and
Oh,
figure
yeah.
out where they went wrong and what they're. So, it's very-
I mean, at least we know.
And it was the same
and-
type of
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
This is what we project you're gonna get. That's what they did. That's what they programmed. And then they never went back in when it was the real thing
Right,
and made the
and
adjustment.
made the
Yeah.
adjustments
That's
based
exactly
off the
what we got.
actuals, so, yeah.
All right. Are we moving on?
Moving on.
Okay. 9.2.
All right, updates to the up to the action plan. So number 2, internal controls, the job descriptions were addressed tonight. I actually added page numbers to this plan so that we can go to a specific page. So if you go to 13 of 19, I added the immediate impact for June for the NEMT changes. And so we used the methodology of the actuals from the payrolls and materials and services for Q1 for the medical transportation wheelchair portion of the program. It also includes the mileage reimbursement because that is in that department in the budget. So then we divided it by the 3 months, so for the month of June, it would have been about $40,000. But we were also running that deficit of $9,500 a month. And so when you look at our actual payroll and materials and services combined, what that's projected to be is 24,664, which is a savings of 15,704. And then with 8 volunteers, right now we're averaging about 12,690 a week. And multiply that out by the 4 weeks for a total of 50,000. So we have a projected net income from the medical transportation program of $26,096 for the month of June.
And we'll need
So,
to amend it again, right, for the dial ride.
Yeah. We
Just,
just changed it again.
Because we like amending this every month.
well, so this was just the immediate change for, that wasn't impacting fiscal year 2025. So,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
that's right.
yeah, the
Thank you.
other impact comes in our budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to monitor that and report on it. And then I did attach the grant reimbursement requests. So that you could see Sherry has done the 5310 and 5311. They're at the very end of this packet. And then the very last page is the foot traffic from the downtown office. So Cindy used the month of March, which is 20 service days. And in those 20 service days, there were 54 clients that walked in and bought single passes. And for each one of those, there's a receipt written. There were 37 client walk-ins that come from WorkSource, the employment department. And for those, she receives an email or a fax and then prints that out off. The client comes in, signs off on that as the receipt, and they receive their pass. And then employment department is billed for those. And then there were agency walk-ins. And so you can see from the bulleted list there, they have a variety of things that they come in and purchase. The one was 100-day passes. But sometimes different people from the agency, different departments within the agency come for different items. So some of them come for the regular passes, some come for the reduced fare passes, and some come for the ticket books. Some of them, like the community living case management, 26 passes. That is 26 separate checks, 26 separate receipts for those passes. So the
Why do they
walk-in,
do it that way?
because they're the payee.
Oh, they're just, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is a significant amount of foot traffic from agencies and clients. But then when you add in drivers, we have 14 bus drivers that utilize the office for either lunch, or they come in and they are there listening for the radio for the lunch coverage. Because the bus will radio in and say where they are and that they're like 2 stops away from the Washington and Russ.
Do they
So-
just park on whatever street, is it Rose Street?
Rose, yeah, around the, yeah. So they also use it for the restroom break. And then we have 5 demand response drivers and 6 volunteer drivers, 3 paratransit drivers that all use it at various different times when they run out of ticket books, or if they need to use the restroom and they happen to be downtown. There are 17 drivers that are issued passes out of that office. They're at the end of the month, they come and turn in their passes that they have not sold, and those are reconciled. They're all numbered, and then they receive their passes for the next month. So in addition to that, she does, on the average, 1 ADA application with the person in the office. Most of them she does with them over the phone. So that is our foot traffic for the downtown office. It is significant, really. That would be hard to ask a business to take on that kind of traffic and provide that level of service for, it would require a change in our service structure. Yeah.
Is there an opportunity there to sell some of these things online or at a kiosk, or?
When we can apply for the grant for the technology, yes. But right now we can't, we don't have the technology.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have those cards or something or even the phones that, you can just scan it
Yeah.
and then deduct it automatically.
Yeah, that was one of our projects that we had intended, well, I had it,
Especially with the $1.50 fare,
yes,
am I gonna give them
The
$2
change.
because I don't have change?
Yeah. yeah. So that's just for your information when considering, changes as we travel further down this road.
Okay. Do we have that on our radar as an upcoming project, though? To move into the digital world?
Yes,
Totally in the weeds, but Connections Living Case Management is separate than, community case management is separate from Connections. Are those all lumped together, or is Connections not using them?
No, Connections is, we bill them, we.
That's one North Stevens is what I'm thinking of, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we invoice them.
Have we ever looked at, just kind of following up on what Michaela was saying, like, Douglas County Senior Services, is there a way to distribute passes or something through that organization and have an agreement with the county to sell and then just,
So we're working with the county right now, but that's more tailored toward getting people to the dining sites. So, you know.
but if they can have the passes there, then they're not having to go talk to them and then go talk to us.
Mhm.
And just do it at one stop.
Yes, so that's the conversation we've opened, but we haven't finished that.
Yeah, it looks like there's an opportunity probably at many of these places, possibly at UCC as well. Yeah. I mean, I understand having the physical location is very nice. And also,
Well, maybe it's a way to expand it. It makes it easier and more accessible to students.
true.
You know, I can't always come down here, but
Yeah.
if I'm out there and going to school, I can just
And
stop by and
UCC
take care
could
of
just
it.
sell them to
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, UCC does sell their student passes there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they pick them up and take them
Well,
up
that
there.
seems like a convenient place to get them. Okay,
All right,
all right. Are we on to managers report?
we are,
Does this require an action?
does it require an action to add the 7D immediate impact for NEMT changes? I know that we had discussed it during meetings. We made the decision for the path forward. And the direction was provided for me to provide this, so I don't know if that was all done in a previous meeting, one of the special meetings.
Page 13. For 7D, is that what you're looking at?
Yes.
Well, we're not making any changes.
Mm-mm.
This was already adopted. This is just an update, right?
Correct.
So I don't think we need a motion.
Okay.
All right, managers report.
All right. Any questions on the manager's report?
No, but looking at just the ridership numbers,
Mhm.
they just increased every month. I think, you and Randy are doing a phenomenal job in terms of getting riders and, you know, part of that's making sure our buses are on time and clean and all that, so.
Running is always good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited when it went over 100,000, so that is,
Good. I've seen that number for a number of years.
yeah. So beyond that, everything else
Kind of
is
needed,
just,
but,
Winston continues on their slight decline from last year. But that's been ongoing for a number of months.
Well, partly I think for them, their bus stops are in just the weirdest locations. That one behind Abby's you just kind of. They feel kind of sketchy. Yeah. And they're not always that, yeah, the which one?
Sunrise.
the night,
People who visit Sunrise.
Yeah, I never see anybody there, but it just kind of been like behind a
Are you there at
building.
3:30?
No, is it really? Yeah,
That's
yeah.
individuals I support are getting off work and.
And it seems like they're like more in the islands, that island area than, just Winston's just laid out here. Yeah. They just don't have good connectivity.
So I did add the Legislative Joint Transportation Committee roadshow updates. So they just held their first one in Portland and the second one in Tillamook. Next one is Albany in July, and then, and Eugene. Then Coos Bay is the one that I'll be
That's all right,
attending. Mhm. And hopefully our ACT will also be involved in this as well. I know they were last time, but it seems as if we were the unique outlier. Most of the other agencies said that their ACTs were not interested in the information and they did not participate at the level that ours did. But I'll be reaching out to Melissa Metz over in Coos Bay and Kathy down in Curry County to make sure that we have a meeting spot, that we're working collaboratively with the oh, I can't think of the name, but the contact for the legislative committee.
Are they inviting,
Public comment?
well, are
Yes.
they inviting, do they want participation from any of us?
They're gonna, what we really need to do and we're aimed at to ensure is that we get writers that are dependent on the system or that have a family that is, Jennifer has her hand up. So we want to ensure that there's public testimony by people that would benefit. But also by the people that are in the income bracket that some would think that this would adversely affect them. That what I hear is I'd gladly pay another $1 per thousand to ensure that I have a ride to the doctor or to work, or that my parents have a ride to dialysis or the cancer center, or, you know, whatever it happens to be. So people are far more likely to be okay with the increase in the I want to call it a donation. It's not a donation. It's a it is the employment tax that would basically, if it went up 0.1%, that would almost double our income. So that really increases our ability to reach the people that right now are struggling, you know. The fare structure would, you know, we'd be able to tailor it back to the people that utilize the system as opposed to the people, you know, the need that the system has right now to ensure we keep going.
So this is upcoming legislation
Yes.
that they're taking testimony on, and has the district taken a position on any of this upcoming legislation?
I don't think that the district would, I mean, as a member of OTA, the message is that we support it and we are going to ensure that whatever that we can do to, excuse me, to help it move forward actually happens.
And what is our responsibility to OTA?
Where it's Oregon
We're
Trans,
members.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, we're members of the OTA.
Yeah, we're members of OTA.
I mean, do we have a vote in them taking position on a transportation legislation?
Well, so I represent us, I represent rural providers on their board.
Okay.
And Julie Brown with RVTD is also on the board, as there are, I'm thinking about 25 of us, that all the way from TriMet and Chariots to, you know, the little ones out in Grant County, and, you know, they have representation for all modes. Yeah.
Okay. Could you provide us, I mean, is it just one, like, House bill or Senate bill, or is it multiple?
It's one.
bills?
It's a
one.
transportation package.
And what is the bill?
There is none.
It's not yet.
There's no
It's
bill
for
yet.
the legislative section.
How
It
long
starts in
session?
February.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And ODOT has a huge stake in this, because they are in some respects in a similar situation to us. And that the inflation has far exceeded their resources.
And we're talking mass layoffs at about
Yeah.
over 30% of ODOT would be laid off.
Yeah.
We're only paving interstate highways, we're not paving any other highway.
If it doesn't pass,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huge.
concussion stuff, got regions, got districts, yeah, like a clown, snow, you know, lots of stuff.
And Jennifer has her hand up. I don't know if that's new or.
Yeah, sorry. Just wanted to just give you a little bit more information on the JCT tour that they're doing there. you know, transit agents cannot directly lobby the legislature because that's against the regulations for most of the grants, especially the federal grants. However, that's where the OTA comes in. So you can be a member of the OTA and they lobby for you. We're encouraging people to talk to folks that ride the bus, your friends, your families, to tell them about what you're doing as far as transit. And then every night at 5 o'clock, they're going to have a listening session at these tours. So in Coos Bay at 5 o'clock, I don't have the location yet, but I will send you all the information when we get it. They are having public comment. Portland's went until like 7:30, I think, and they shut it down because they, but they are going to be doing something, I guess, a little different the next session that they're doing, because they did a video or something for the Portland one and it lasted a little bit longer. So then the public comment was cut off. So there will be public comment. Some of the stuff is by invitation only, but definitely encourage people to talk to your friends and get them to comment publicly about the importance of transportation.
Okay, thank you so much, Jennifer.
We'll also have multiple ways to provide the public comment as well.
Okay.
You'll be able to sign up to provide it in person, or you can provide it via email, or they're also going to have the option to provide virtually if time permits. Yeah.
Are we gonna put that on our website?
I don't know, hadn't thought about it, and I need to look into the rules that Jennifer was referencing. I don't know if that would be considered lobbying or not. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look.
Probably just informational. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you don't take a position on
Right?
it. All right. Any other questions on the manager's report? No? All right.
Agenda bill.
Was that all that Jennifer had for the ODOT update?
No, I do have a couple other things, and I'll try to be really quick. So one of the things I have been working on is a document that I'll share with you all. I took your action plan and I took the RLS final report, and then I put them together where their report aligned with what you guys had put down for action. And I wanted to give you guys a progress report. And there were a couple of things that were on the final report that were not on the preliminary draft report. And so one of the things that I've been asked by the managers at ODOT is that we have you guys take a look at this. It's going to show the things that you guys have already done, the things that still need to be done, and how they align with the findings. So your board action and stuff that you've requested staff to do and how they align. I'll be sending that out tomorrow to you, and we would like to have you adopt it at your next board meeting. It's just basically kind of a contract like what we did with the action plan before. It's the board saying, yes, we will follow through with these and make sure that these things get done in order to maintain a good fiscal situation for UPTD. But it's in one document, so you have the finding, you have your guys' action plan items, whether it was completed, and then also it's going to have red lines to show which items have been completed, because some of them are in progress, but some of the items have been completed. So I was trying to make it easier for you all to see in one place instead of having a document here and a document there and a document there. And what are we really supposed to be doing? So I will have that completed. I talked to both Sherry and Cheryl last week about some of the stuff that's on there and what they could do, and then what I can do to help them. And then one other item that Drew asked me to prepare, and I'm gonna have Cheryl review it before we finalize it, but it's just a process document for the agency periodic report and the STIF report. So here's what they need to do every quarter to make sure that this report gets done. And it basically outlines, here's what Sherry's responsibilities are, here's what Cheryl's are, and here's what ODOT's are. So this is a document that we are going to have the finance manager, the HR manager, and the GM sign, just so that we have that as a document. And I'll be sending that on to Sherry and Cheryl this week.
Okay. Thank you.
And then we have grants coming up. The biennial grants are going to hit starting next month. The STIF discretionary grant is going to hit. And I know that one of the things that they will be looking at as far as for a discretionary grant is what the findings are on your guys's audit. So depending on the findings, if you have a bunch of repeat findings, that's been one of the items that they called out. And we had 2 agencies at the last mid-cycle grant that were not able to apply because they had repeat findings, audit findings. And so hopefully you guys are going to be getting your audit back soon. I think they said they were going to have it to y'all before the end of June. But that way we will know if you guys can apply for those STIF discretionary. And what I would highly recommend is looking into the possibility of applying for software for your financial system. Because that's one of the major findings that you guys had. And it's one of the things that's going to help you the most is going forward, having a financial system that's going to be capable of tracking some of these grants in ways that are going to be helpful for you all.
Sherry's excited about that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I met with the auditor on Wednesday, Jennifer, just as an update, and they are still looking, they're still looking to have it by the end of the month, so fingers
cool.
crossed as well, but
Good. Hopefully they get on it. I know they're busy because Melissa over in Coos Bay, their auditors are behind schedule as well, and she's been fighting with them to try to get hers done too. So
they gave me
and
the
she had
things that they asked for, and I
You
sent
had-
everything over.
yeah, we need more auditors, man. This is the job to get if you're here in Oregon. And then the only other thing is that we do have the formula funds that are coming up, and those estimates for the formula funds for the federal are going to be coming out at the end of July, first part of August. So all the estimates on the funding and how much you'll have for the next biennium should be coming soon.
Perfect. Is there any action we need to take for the financial system, or is it just, we're just waiting?
We've got to apply for grants and see if we can get them. I just met with a second company, so we've already gotten estimates from one company. I just met with the second one. And we've got, I think it's the second week in July, Cheryl and I have a demo with them. So we're just trying to get all of the pricing and everything together.
Do we know some? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, do we think we can consider that at the next meeting? Will we have sufficient information?
Ooh, we might, if we know that we have resolved the audit findings, and then we have found a demo that would work, then the next step would be to get permission, basically, to apply for the grant. Yeah, and then,
Then
Are
put
we
out
looking
an
at transit agencies to see what they use?
I've spoken with,
and
I've
their
spoken with
feedback?
some of the finance people to find out what they've used, and the one that we.
I was like, we're using this, but don't look at it, it's really bad.
Yeah.
We really want to go to this.
That was one that came up with numerous agencies, so we've already had that demo, and then MIP is the second one, so. I may just reach out and get a third one, just.
You're like,
I
awesome.
Yeah.
don't know about that. We.
Do you have to have an RFP for that?
Yeah. exciting stuff.
All right. Was that all, Jennifer?
Yeah, and Sherry looking into this and then working on some of the planning and stuff, that's part of the steps that they have listed on one of the findings from RLS. So we can show that one in progress. So that's a good thing. So appreciate all their work on getting these things rolling.
Yes. Thank you both. All right, not on agenda. Anything not on agenda?
Oh, yes. We had approved the budget with the and then made changes and adopted the budget with the changes. But I didn't have a copy of the budget with the changes prior to Sarah resigning. She was the chair at the time that we approved the budget. So I just need to know who signs it. Yeah. And I have that here somewhere for you. But I have a couple of other things that I'll have to have you sign to that
Do we want to just do it
we could do that later. Yeah.
afterwards?
And I just needed to know for sure if Michaela could, well, I didn't know who the chair was
I
gonna
think
be.
I probably could anyway, just
Yeah.
because I was vice
Sure.
chair,
Yeah.
so. Okay, is that it for not on the agenda?
When so finally got a quote on the semi-seat over at the Roseburg Marketplace bus stop.
Mhm.
I know you wanted to look into that with something by May 1st. It was kind of hard getting contractors to bid on such a small project. I did find somebody and we're looking at $22.50 for the installation of the pad. The pad's got to be adjacent. The city will not let us put it on the sidewalks.
Mhm.
So it'd be a 2x2x12 pad, reinforced adjacent to the existing sidewalks. And includes a road permit and the installation of the city seat.
Will we be able to add a shelter on that pad in the future? Is it big enough to
Too
do that?
small.
Too small?
Yeah, the shelter pads are typically 5x10.
Mhm.
And this would be just a 2x2, just enough to be able to put the semi seat there.
But we could add on to that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right,
Well, good, people won't have to sit on all those Walmart grocery carts,
Yeah.
while they're all overturned.
I can bring up, I can bring a proposal on next board meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'd like to get 2 more permits, because I thought that was a little high, but it might be just a sign of the times.
okay, so we're gonna need that on the next agenda. Okay, anything else? Not on agenda? Okay, public comment. Is there any public comment?
I have something. So after speaking with an investigator at the Ethics Commission and consulting with an attorney, I need to know what the process is to speak to the board in private concerning the recruitment of a former employee to fill a board vacancy and the conflicts that brings.
Okay, I think there is a process, for bringing things to executive committee in the executive committee bylaws.
Is that who I would bring it to or the whole board? That's,
I think it would go to the executive committee probably, but that is something that we can look at probably after the meeting. Do you have a copy of both bylaws?
I do not. I do not have a copy of any bylaws, and the bylaws that are on our website, say revised 2021.
Okay.
And they are not, they don't seem complete.
Okay,
They're not.
so.
They were in 2021.
Can we get the bylaws updated on the website and get her a copy of both of them?
Yeah.
Okay,
The regular board bylaws and protocols and executive committee, or just the executive?
and
I would like all of them.
that would be good. Yeah, executive committee bylaws and the regular and policies. Okay. All right, any other public comment? No? All right, so let's do our agenda build really quickly. All right, so all of our normal stuff, for old business. We made it through the job descriptions, okay. So we're gonna need to do, well, actually, let's talk about this really quickly. Are we going to set a special meeting for the applications and discussion? Because we don't want that on
Yeah, that's a good.
our regular board meeting if we're gonna do
All
that.
And our regular board meeting is July 15th.
Mhm. So, well, first of all, do we have the other two vacancies listed in the newspaper?
So the other two vacancies had already been submitted when you suggested that we put them all three in together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So-
we're good. We're on track right now. There will be notice within when?
It goes Friday this week,
So,
and it will be up for the week.
okay, so the 28th, we're good. After the 28th, we're good? Or after the 21st?
Well, are we saying that needs to be up 2 weeks?
It needs to be up for 2 weeks.
Okay, it's only been noticed for the. I will have to go and look.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it was put in on Friday, then we're probably looking through the 28th would be the earliest we could do it. Do we wanna maybe do it that following Monday?
So I
And the
am
first.
out of town traveling to take my granddaughter back on the first. Actually, I'm traveling home on the second, so
Doesn't have to be on a Monday. I
No,
guess.
It doesn't have to be on
Would it
Monday.
be-
Doug, do you have any conflicts on on days of the week?
4th of July week is just.
No, I don't, but advance notice is appreciated, so don't set appointments during the
Right.
meeting times.
Barbecue Doug's on July 4th, so.
So
Do you wanna do
I-
like July 8th, maybe?
that is kind of far out there, but
What about the fifth?
That gives time to
This is
research.
right after the 4th of July. That's the day people take off.
Are we closed on the fifth? Our administrative holidays, does it, I think it includes the fifth, so
The
that one.
fifth,
of
Oh, I bet it
so
does.
the
Yeah.
8th would be the next Monday.
Or the third before the fourth?
Mhm.
I'm good on the 3rd.
Are
Doesn't
you
have a
here
life.
on the 3rd?
I'll be here on the 3rd.
Doug, are you good on the 3rd?
Yep.
Janice, are you good on the 3rd?
I think so.
All right, so now. the
Guys good on the 3rd?
I'm good on the 3rd.
3rd, Jim? Third?
Is it during the day or in the?
Yeah.
That's what I was.
clarifying. What time?
I was thinking like 5:30. Does
Really?
5:30 work?
During the day, you should do it during the day, cause it's like right before a holiday.
It's still
people might
sunny
wanna
outside, is what I always say.
That is true. It is the day before a holiday.
if people
I'm
are-
not available from 4 to 5.
Mhm.
But it is a holiday, so like
Yeah, I don't know.
everybody must be gone.
What day of the week
They're
is
the
that?
Only
It's a
appointment I
Wednesday.
have on Thursday.
Yeah,
That's a Wednesday. Yeah, Janice, I know isn't gonna be available before 4.
I mean, it works for me, but I also definitely want it to work for our applicants as well.
Well, some of them might work, so the
Mhm.
afternoon might, late afternoon might be better for those.
We would
who
just-
don't do them.
Delay anybody's travel plans if they
Yeah.
have them, and there are people that had to leave that.
Do you think 4 o'clock? That's probably about the soonest
Only
we're gonna be
time I'm
able
not
to do it.
available.
Oh, you think? Said that, I heard that too, yeah.
Or maybe they could put your interview towards the end.
Let's do it at 4 o'clock.
I mean, maybe the eighth is just. It stinks to push it out, but maybe the eighth would just be easier.
We're just gonna be doing back-to-back
Oh, gotcha.
board meetings, oh wait, yeah, we'll be doing them
8th and the
back-to-back weeks,
15th.
but
Yeah.
I'm okay with that if you guys are.
I'm good with it.
Okay,
What
Either
time
one
did
of
we
them.
come up with?
we're thinking Monday the 15th, or sorry, Monday the 8th at 5:30.
Is the goal just to do interviews
Okay.
or is it
Just-
also a point?
I think we should do interviews and a point.
Yeah, that's what I would do it all, yeah.
Just to get it
So
done.
the only reason I ask is is, since we don't have an executive assistant anymore, they were a notary, right, and swearing in, so we need to make sure that we have somebody that's a notary or something to swear in and
Are you a
do
notary,
that.
Becky?
Oh,
The notary,
Yeah.
can you
Okay.
make it?
Well, I have to enroll my son in school
yeah,
and like they open at 5 and they said about a half hour. So it would be
Well-
cutting it close. I can try to see if I can.
on the 8th, this is
Yeah.
on the 8th.
It's the only day for, it's a private school, so it's the only day for
Okay.
enrollment.
Yeah.
Like I can try to sneak in. So,
Well, we would just need you at the end,
And I would-
probably, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, we just need
I mean,
to,
I
yeah.
might be just like a few minutes late. which
Well,
would be-
I mean,
that
if
would
we're
be
starting
fine.
at, what time are we starting at?
5:30.
5:30?
Mhm.
And then, yeah, we probably wouldn't need you till 7:30 or,
Well, it'll be, I mean, I would like to be here for the interviews, but I'll just be here shortly after 5:30 if it takes the full half hour.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then who has the oath would be my
I do.
next question. What is the oath? And
I do.
so maybe we should make them all aware that they need to have their IDs on them
Yes.
and all that
Good,
fun
yes.
stuff.
We can put that in the meeting notice.
They have to sign my book, all the good stuff. So
Okay. Okay, so is that good for everybody? 5:30 on the 8th? Okay,
Sounds good.
all right.
what's that?
What?
I think he said he's good, right?
Okay, cool. All right, well then let's,
I'll
July 8th,
send an
5:30.
invite out to all of the people that have applied so far.
perfect. And then just whoever applies afterwards as well. Do we want to, I'm assuming, if you are applying for one position, you're probably willing to serve in all, but do we need to let them know to
Which one?
to notify us if they're available for all positions?
Right, the position number 3 is for 2 years to the
Mhm.
end of, but the other 2 are only for the 1 year to the end of 2025 or June
So
2020.
we might just want to specify that in the email, just make sure that if you're wanting to apply for all 3, note all 3.
Yes,
Okay,
and here I am gonna stop share. Okay. So we do have most everyone that applied on the screen or in the room. The one
mhm,
had to exit, yeah.
okay,
Okay.
all right.
How many people have applied?
Well, 9 people, requested applications, 7 people turned them in. And then, there was 1 that turned their application in and then, stated that they were no longer interested.
So that's 7 total or 6?
6 total now.
That's good to fill 3.
And we still have a couple weeks, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all we'll do for that. I mean, actually, we can't do anything. He left. We'll wait until he gets back.
Did I give you the executive session script?
You did.
Okay,
Yes.
I had a moment.
Thank you for doing this too. I appreciate it. Okay.
We're waiting on her.
Is
Yes.
that dispatcher gone right outside that door? That's the only reason why I had it closed.
I was gonna say it's dark, but maybe this paper?
No,
It's already done.
Okay.
So let's do agenda build for our, or do we want to wait until next meeting? Do we want to do the agenda build for our next regularly scheduled meeting?
Oh, I thought that's what we were doing. The,
The 8th?
no,
No,
for
15th.
the,
Yeah, for the 8th, we're just gonna do interviews
Mhm.
right.
and
so-
appointments. So yeah, let's do our agenda build for the 15th meeting.
Okay.
Okay. So we need to, let's see, what do we have for new business today? We already did the reduced fare. So we need to
Oh.
add to new business, need to update action plan and adopt at the next meeting. That's gonna be from Jennifer, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so you have that on your list. We have the pad proposal.
City seat installation
Perfect, and then, we need to talk about the financial system if you guys have enough information
Okay.
at that point. Anything I'm missing?
Consider the committee member, no, you did that.
Yes,
Talked about when we did that, and then you did it, so never mind.
and hopefully we'll have a full board at that meeting.
When you guys talked about doing bylaws stuff, Mike was saying that you guys should
Oh.
revisit some of that.
Do we want to do
I
that?
would just hold off on that one for,
Just
I'm-
take a break from the bylaws changes. Nobody's allowed to resign.
yeah.
That's Okay. Yeah, we can revisit that. I think.
And I actually printed out the information from 198 and compared it with our bylaws as far as who can be on the board and who cannot. And the only people that can be excluded from being on the board, because it is typically an elected position, are employees or people that are our contractors. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it says that in our bylaws.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought I had read that.
Legally, we can't exclude anybody else other than an employee
Yep.
or a contractor.
Yes, I saw that. That was added into our bylaws a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there's a new state law that came out and
Yeah, I
That
looked
you
back
could opt
through the
into,
changes
yeah.
and. Yeah. Was that like 2020 or something?
mhm.
Okay, all right, so. Executive session. All right, you might have to walk
Bye.
through this, Cheryl. Do I have to
All right.
make an announcement before they go?
Yes,
Okay.
we are.
Okay, we're going into executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660. For the purpose of discussion.
Cause we need to meet it, like, now that we're we need to, probably just on the last one,
We're just talking about the moving the property.
yeah.
Yeah, the moving property, or the
real
property.
property.
The real property. Okay,
And then we'll be coming out,
we will be
do we
coming
just make
out.
a recommendation or anything, or?
Right, come back to make
Okay,
it.
okay, so we'll come out and make a recommendation.
You guys are welcome to stay.
So just Janice and Doug will need to be on here and everybody else will need to sign off.
Yeah.
Call the meeting back to order at 7:39 in regular session. All right,
One motion,
so I will entertain a motion to,
so I'll move to authorize Cheryl to proceed with selling the property.
Do I have a price range?
No.
Okay,
I mean, I would assume you're gonna investigate and you're gonna do an appraisal and all, we're not experts, so.
okay.
I mean, otherwise we'd have to give you this big massive giant thing and it would be meaningless,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, and we will come back together if we receive an offer.
Mhm.
oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
all right,
Aye. Janice? All those opposed?
Janice, I'm assuming you're for it.
I have to help with my dad, I'm sorry.
Okay, say yes. Or no?
She
Yes.
abstains.
Okay, she said yes.
Thanks, Dennis. Oh,
Okay. All right, I believe that was our last,
That's it.
last agenda item, so we will go ahead and adjourn again at 7:41.
7:40.
Meeting.
All right. And I'm gonna end meeting for all.
Yep.